Well, hello and welcome to Faculty Spotlights. We are joined today by Dr. Wendy Schiff, our department chair for our PsyD Clinical Psychology program in Washington, D.C. Welcome, Dr. Schiff.
Thank you, Dr. Garrison. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about what inspired you to get into the field of clinical psychology.
Absolutely. I think, like many people who go into psychology, I had an interest in helping other people. I wanted to make a difference in the world. I looked at sort of different professions going into medicine, going into the law. But really, as I look back from a pretty young age, I was drawn to psychology. I always was interested in trying to understand people, trying to understand why they do what they
Mhm.
do, what makes them tick. I was particularly interested in people's relationships. Why do some relationships seem to work so well and others seem to be, filled with drama and conflict? Like so many people that go into psychology, I was somebody who asked a lot of questions,
Yeah.
really wanted to understand others, and people would come to me, and I would just sort of welcome that opportunity to listen, to hear, to
Mhm.
advise. But I think what really sent me in the direction of clinical psychology specifically was that intellectual curiosity that
Mhm.
I don't, of course, I want to help others, I want to support, I want to listen, but I really wanted to make sense of it. I really
Mhm.
wanted to look at the theories of why people do what they do and look at what research tells us about why people do what they do. And a lot of that is really what you get into by going into clinical psychology specifically.
Well, what is it about teaching and working with students that you enjoy the most?
Oh, yeah, great question. After working as a clinician and as a researcher for a number of years, I really became drawn to working with students. It started with the opportunity to supervise students in a clinical setting, and I
Mhm.
found that was the highlight of my day. Working with students, helping them to sort of develop their vision, their skills, their identity as helping professionals. That got me really excited and energized. So, um, years ago that led me to going into more of an academic setting, teaching and working with students. And this is where I've sort of lived ever since because I love it. I think in particular, I like finding ways to take challenging material, difficult,
Mhm.
research, information, theories, and figure out how to make it understandable, accessible, and how to make it engaging for students, help them get excited by what they're learning and maybe even a little inspired to
Yeah.
learn more and to go further with it. Seeing students engaged in their learning, seeing them develop their own knowledge, their own skills, seeing them grow professionally and personally. That's really
Yeah.
what I'm here for.
Awesome. Hearing about how much you love working with students, what is one lesson or skill that you hope every student takes away from your program?
Oh, takes away from our program. I think it's approaching yourself as a professional as a lifelong learner.
Mhm.
Um, and there's always new information, there's always new ideas coming out, there's new challenges that we're facing. So, going into school, getting your degree is a great way to get started, have your foundation, be ready to hit the ground running as a
Yeah.
professional, but recognize that it doesn't end there. You want to always be curious and asking questions and seeking out opportunities to continue to learn. And so again, that's what I hope students take away from my class, to think,
Yeah.
to go beyond the surface. And I think from our program as well, that we feel we're training our own future colleagues and that we learn from each other and we continue to learn together.
Yeah. Given what we do in the field, I think that's a really important lesson to come away with, right? Is that you can never stop growing, you can never stop kind of deepening and expanding your knowledge base because the people that come to clinical psychologists are looking for help, and we've got to make sure that we're on top of kind of the latest developments in the field, and we're always focused on incorporating those into what we do.
Absolutely. As much as you're learning the current state of knowledge when you go through school, you're also learning how to learn. You're learning
Yeah,
how to keep updating your skills and knowledge and how
yeah,
to keep answering new questions.
yeah. That learning how to learn is so key, right? So, thinking about, students who are interested in pursuing a career in clinical psychology, what's a piece of advice that you would have for them as they look at entering the field?
Well, I think students often enter the field and get interested in psychology because they have a motivation to do a certain type of work or to work with a
Mhm.
certain population or in a certain setting. So I'll hear from students, I want to come to graduate school because I want to work with women with eating disorders or I want to have
Sure.
a private practice. And they're very focused on that one idea or image of what it would mean to be a psychologist.
Yeah.
But I think what you really want is to sort of have an open approach to learning so many skills that
Yeah.
you can be versatile. What you want is to have a long, fulfilling career and be able to take advantage of whatever opportunities that may come along. We really don't know what the world will be like in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years.
Yeah.
We don't know what the challenges will be, but we know that psychologists who are well trained and are versatile will be able to step in and make a difference and take on different roles and work in different settings. And I think that's how we have the biggest impact long term. And that's how you can have, the most fulfilling and successful career.
Yeah, and I think that's, it's interesting because I've seen that a lot over the years with students as well. They come in with a very specific idea, but then they get into the program and that evolves, that
It does.
changes. For some, it's a straight line, right? They know what they want to do with their degree, but a lot of times when you get into the program and you get exposed to kind of the breadth of knowledge that you are in the program, you start to kind of shift and evolve what you think you want to do post graduation.
Absolutely. And there's so many opportunities while you're in our program, so many different classes to take, and so many different clinical settings to get training in that it would be a shame to just close yourself off and only
Yeah,
do one thing. If you think you want to work with children, have the experience also of working with adults.
yeah,
Kids often come with adults attached after all. But if you think you want to work in one type of setting, take an opportunity to try a different setting as well. This is a time to explore and get different experiences and develop skills that you can carry with you into different settings and with different populations. Many folks, by the midpoint of their career, are doing very different things than they
yeah,
thought they would be doing when they first were
absolutely.
coming out of graduate school. What allows you to do that is really having those versatile, well rounded skills as a psychologist.
Absolutely. It reminds me of a story when I was in my doctoral program. I always knew I wanted to work with kids. And so I had accumulated a lot of practicum experience working with kids. And my advisor pulled me aside and he said, "Hey, you need to go get some experience with adults." And
Hmm.
so I did. And it has been incredibly important to my work as a
Absolutely.
psychologist. So, yeah, absolutely. So, why do you think people should choose the Chicago School to pursue their clinical psychology program?
Absolutely. I think the Chicago School is a name that is recognized and respected in the field of clinical psychology for the quality and excellence of our training and education. There may be other institutions whose names are a little bit more recognizable to your friends and family,
Hmm.
but within our profession, really nothing exceeds the reputation that the Chicago School has. It's a name and an institution and an education that opens doors and provides opportunities for the rest of your professional life. Just speaking specifically here in Washington, D.C., in our PsyD program, our students are sought after by our clinical training sites. We have relationships with over 150 sites in the Washington, D.C. area because the sites know and the psychologists working there know that our students are well prepared. They're
Yeah.
ready to come in and work with their supervisors and make a difference for their patients and clients. And speaking again in our area, but this is true at all of our campuses, our students are able to train in all these different diverse sites and with diverse populations. Private practices, hospitals, court systems, schools, counseling centers, military settings, and the list goes on. And so there's just so many opportunities to round out your training with us.
Yeah.
And our alumni are working all over the country and the world, really, providing clinical service, assessment, diagnosis, treatment, supervision, program leadership, consultation, advocacy. I just feel like the Chicago School is the place to be to
Yeah.
prepare for a long, successful career in clinical psychology.
Another great opportunity for students at your program there in Washington, D.C. is the Mid-Atlantic Internship Consortium, right? There's an internship opportunity right there for students going through your program.
Oh, yes, we're so proud of our relationship with this internship site, and we work with them very closely. And our students have first opportunity to apply and be placed with this APA accredited internship consortium, which is made up of a number of really exciting, exceptional training sites. So it's a great asset to our program, and we're really, really proud of it. I mean, I could go on and on about our particular program, our
Sure.
wonderful and diverse faculty, our sense of community in our program and on our campus, the opportunities in Washington, D.C. to be involved in advocacy and social justice, which is an important part of what we do here in the nation's capital. But as much as I can sort of brag on my program specifically, it's made possible by being part of this wonderful larger college and university at the Chicago School.
Fantastic. Well, Dr. Schiff, thank you for joining us today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.